Lunar New Year. Then we will have a 1-month break for winter vacation, and we'll start the online class again on March 1st. So tonight's class is very precious and also very important. That's why we make a special arrangement and invite a very senior and outstanding lecturer, Lecturer Lin, Lin 讲师, Lecturer Susanna, for the spiritual sharing tonight. Lecturer Lin, Lecturer Susanna, has been cultivating Tao for more than 30 years. She is a very sincere and devoted Tao cultivator. All her family are dedicated to Tao cultivation, and her elder brother is a Tao transmitting master. Lecturer Lin is very knowledgeable for all kinds of classics and sutras. She often gives lectures in Chinese Tao seminars and inspires many new Tao members. As she has been to US for further studies, her English is also very good, and she has been to Nepal and New Zealand for Tao propagation. That's why we often invite her to give lecture in English Tao seminar in Taiwan, and all the foreign friends like her sharing very much. I also learn a lot from her. Actually, Lecturer Lin has a very tight schedule for all the Tao classes and Tao seminars. Tonight, we are really happy that she can squeeze time to join us and share with us this very important topic, the Holy Revelation, I Make Bodhisattva Vows. This is a holy revelation made by our Qianren, never-resting Bodhisattva. Currently, Lecturer Lin is in charge of the translation and compilation of the Holy Revelation made by our never-resting Bodhisattva. She spends a lot of effort in making all the translation most close and true to the Chinese translation. We all admire her diligence in making this holy mission successful. I'm sure later, after you listen to her sharing, you will feel very touched by the love of our Qianren, never-resting Bodhisattva. Now, with a joyful heart, let's welcome Lecturer Lin, Lin 讲师. Welcome, Lecturer Lin.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Monica, for your wonderful introduction. Namaste. Good evening, my dear brothers and sisters. It's the first time for me to share a topic with you. Thanks to the grace of heaven, the virtues of our holy teachers, Qigong Living Buddha and Yuehui Bodhisattva, and the love and wise guidance of our Grand Senior Elder Bai Shui Shendi and our Senior Elder Bu Xiu菩萨up in heaven. And thanks to Tao Transmitting Master Huang, and thanks to Lecturer Shi and Lecturer Chen and all of you who make it possible for me to share some insights here. For this session, I would like to share one of the holy revelations from our Tianren Bu Xiu菩萨, and the title is I Make Bodhisattva's Vows. Our Tianren, having devoted 60 years of her life to Tao propagation, in which she spared no efforts at every instant of every day. Her schedule was always very tight. She would use one day to do 3 days' work, even in her 70s. And when she was hospitalized in her 80s, during the last few months of her lifetime, she even asked the doctor who was taking care of her to receive Tao. And the doctor said that they were very busy. And Tianren said, no matter how busy you are, you need to make time to receive Tao. So this is our Tianren. She propagated Tao to save sentient beings tirelessly. And that's why Heavenly Mother conferred the holy title Bu Xiu菩萨to our Tianren. And after she returned to heaven, and then we, as 后学们, we came to realize that Bu Xiu菩萨has been a bodhisattva long time ago. Her holy title has been recorded in the scriptures. So in the last salvation of Wai-Yang era, Bu Xiu菩萨incarnated as our Tianren. So this holy revelation is not intended to tell us how our Tianren made a bodhisattva's vows this life. Instead, it's intended to help us emulate a bodhisattva, to give rise to a bodhicitta motivation to make a bodhisattva's vows. And the definition of a bodhisattva, the word comprises bodhi and sattva. Bodhi refers to enlightened as an adjective or enlightened as a verb. Sattva refers to sentient beings. So Bodhisattva means an enlightened sentient being who was once lost and confused, but now he or she is enlightened. Or if we see it as a verb, Bodhisattva refers to he or she is doing his or her best to enlighten sentient beings. And the sentient beings include the sentient beings within on the inside, which means his or her own bad temperaments and habits, and sentient beings on the outside as well. So to summarize, a bodhisattva can mean an enlightened sentient being or a newly inspired cultivator who wants to cultivate himself as well as to benefit the world. So our holy teacher's merciful words may give a further in-depth understanding of holy teacher's expectation for us. Holy teacher said, "You are a future bodhisattva. As a newly inspired cultivator, if we are doing well, we are bound to be an enlightened bodhisattva in the future. Thus, holy teacher encourages us, as long as you have a kind heart and righteous behaviors, you are filial to your parents, you do good deeds, then in the eyes of heaven, in the heart of holy teacher, you are an angel, you are a future bodhisattva. On the contrary, if you just ask for your own benefits and often take advantage of others, then you are not an angel in the eyes of heaven. As your holy teacher, I cherish my disciples who are compassionate, kind, considerate, and tender-hearted." Since all of us are future bodhisattvas, let's go directly to the text of the Holy Revelation, I Make a Bodhisattva's Vows, and learn what our Qianren is going to tell us, to teach us the compassionate mindset, the motivation, the attitude, and the vows of a bodhisattva. Qianren said, I give rise to a bodhisattva's heart to show loving kindness and compassion of a bodhisattva. The main essence of a bodhisattva's heart is loving kindness and compassion. Aside from loving kindness and compassion, there would be no bodhisattvas at all. And when would our loving kindness and compassion be lost? It's when we get angry, we feel upset, our compassion will be gone. When our greed or ignorance arises, when we blindly pursue after our desires, then our loving kindness will be gone. So we need to be very mindful of our thoughts. And Qianren further said, I make a bodhisattva's vows to show the spirits of a bodhisattva. The spirits of bodhisattva, what we must emulate is our Lao Qianren and Qianren's spirits and virtues, which include to respect holy teachers and value Tao, hold on to the golden line, being courageous, being disciplined, being diligent in inner cultivation and outer propagation of Tao. All are the spirits of a bodhisattva. And Qianren said, I cultivate for a bodhisattva's appearance to show the dignity of a bodhisattva. And this means as within, so without. The appearance here is not to show to others. We need to be mindful even in solitude. Okay, the appearance doesn't mean that we want to show to others that I'm a cultivator. And the appearance, even we are in solitude, we need to be mindful because we all know that cultivation is an inside job. But as we are dignified inside, on the outside, naturally, we will demand ourselves. Naturally, we will live our day-to-day life with appropriate discipline. And this is what it means by cultivate for a bodhisattva's appearance. Being disciplined even in solitude. And Chen said, I walk the path of a bodhisattva to show the conduct of a bodhisattva. Everyone has one's life story. Hope that our life stories are not something about pursuing after fames, fortunes, or desires, and end up with sad memories, but are the life story of a true cultivator, a compassionate bodhisattva. Hope we have such life stories that when future generations read them, they can be inspired. And Chen said, I perform the bodhisattva's deeds to show bodhisattva's joy and giving. So to write such life stories, we need to perform the bodhisattva's deeds, to serve sentient beings, dedicate and devote everything to the sacred cause, and yet harvest great joy and peace at heart. Therefore, I'm willing to take on the sufferings for sentient beings. I'm willing to accept any resentment sentient beings harbor towards me. And why sentient beings suffer? Because of their bad karma created in the past. So they need to pay their karmic debts now. And Buddhas, like our holy teachers and great bodhisattvas, would always bear the sufferings for sentient beings, to make time and space for us to cultivate and propagate Tao in order to accumulate more merits and virtues and fulfill our vows. But what about us? We are only newly inspired cultivators. Are we capable of bearing sufferings for other sentient beings? Are we capable of taking on other sentient beings' bad karmas? Are we able to? Well, no, but yes. Let's talk about no first. Because we are newly inspired cultivators, we are still ordinary person. So we are not wise enough to see through sentient beings' karmic debts, karmic causes and effects. If we vow to take on others' sufferings abruptly, our intentions are very good, very merciful, but we might result in falling sick and won't be able to cultivate and propagate Tao. And what's worse, the person we bear sufferings for might not be awakened or inspired. And once he or she becomes healthy again, he is still confused and lost and does not walk on the right track. He might do something wrong. He might do wrong things as before. So it may not be a good idea to bear sufferings for them. But how can a bodhisattva bear to see sentient beings suffer? How can we bear to see sentient beings suffer? We need to lend a helping hand. To lend a helping hand, great bodhisattvas have their great power and wisdom. What they can do, we may not be able to do the same. However, we all come to this world with our blessings. And these blessings were created in our past life because we have done something good. And the blessings include our material wealth, our money, our physical health, and our mental happiness. And then let's take material wealth, for example. If we don't spend our money and enjoy material life to its fullest and save some money to help the less fortunate, we can help those people who are in need, right? And then let's talk about physical health as a blessing, for example. We are healthy, but if we don't use our health simply to satisfy our sensory pleasures, instead, we spare time and energy to spread the truth, to propagate Tao, to serve people. By doing so, we can help sentient beings to walk on the right path toward heavenly home. So the concept of taking on sufferings for sentient beings is not to enjoy our blessings to their fullest. Spare some blessings to help sentient beings. The more we reduce our enjoyments, the less pain sentient beings will suffer. If we can reduce our enjoyment by 1%, sentient beings' suffering can be minimized by 1%. And this is the concept of taking on sufferings for sentient beings, And it's within our capabilities. Everybody is able to do that. And then since we learn to help relieve sentient beings' sufferings, we are learning to be compassionate. So facing sentient beings' misunderstandings or even resentments is no big deal, right? So Tianren said, I'm willing to accept any resentment sentient beings harbor towards me. I find my time is almost up, so I cannot finish elaborating the rest, but I'll read it through. And as a sharing, I hope after the class, after the sharing, you can find the Holy Revelation and you can comprehend what our Tianren was going to teach us. Okay, and next slide. Tianren said, I'm willing to cure the foolishness of sentient beings. I'm willing to help sentient beings to be liberated from their sins. I'm willing to free sentient beings from their ignorance, shield them from calamities, and save the world. Only through receiving Tao and realize the truth can the sentient beings awaken from their ignorance. And to shield the sentient beings from calamities and save the world, the great bodhisattvas can do what they can. And we Tao cultivators also can do something within our capabilities to help. And on the path, there may be sufferings, hard times, difficulties, rejections, slanders, sicknesses, pains, and so on. I'm willing to accept them all with heavenly joy. Just like the Bodhisattva with 1,000 eyes, I would watch over the world. Just like the Bodhisattva with 1,000 arms, I would guide the world. We all know that Guanyin Bodhisattva, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, has 1,000 eyes and 1,000 hands. And we, as a newly inspired cultivator, we would like to use our eyes as two eyes among the 1,000 eyes of Guanyin Bodhisattva, and our hands as two among the 1,000 hands of Guanyin Bodhisattva to watch over and guide the world. So Guanyin Bodhisattva is like the moon in the sky, and we are like the street lamps along the way. Radiate our lights to emulate the darkness and help guide the lost sentient beings to go home. Just like the Bodhisattva who walks 1,000 miles and will save the world. Just like the Bodhisattva who, with 1,000 incarnations, I would guard the world. My only wish, a Bodhisattva's only wish, is may sentient beings be freed from sufferings and obtain happiness. I give rise to a Bodhisattva's heart. May all defilements and delusions be eliminated, both on the inside and on the outside, both within my mind and within sentient beings' mind. I make a Bodhisattva's vows. May the world be harmonious, peaceful, and safe. Because all the defilements and delusions are eliminated, all the sentient beings are awakened, so the world will be harmonious, peaceful, and safe. And eventually all sentient beings can go back to our heavenly home. And this is our ultimate goal. My time is up. And if I have made any mistakes, I hope in God and Buddha to forgive me. I hope 不休息菩萨 forgive me. And I hope masters and lecturers, all my brothers and sisters can give me comments. Thank you. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you.
So we are very thankful to Lecturer Lin Jiang Shi for this wonderful sharing full of love and wisdom. We hope next time we can give you more time, maybe 30 minutes, okay, because time's a little limited. And actually, this holy revelation is really very meaningful. And just as our holy teacher said, as long as we have a kind heart and righteous behaviors, we are filial to our parents, do good deeds, then in the eyes of heaven, in the heart of holy teacher, we are all angels. We are all future bodhisattvas. And in this holy revelation, our never-resting bodhisattva once again encourages to make a bodhisattva's vows, walk the path of a bodhisattva, and perform the bodhisattva's deeds. Then we will be just like the 1,000 eyes and arms of the bodhisattva to help and save all the sentient beings in the world. We are really blessed to receive Tao, cultivate Tao, and learn to follow the footsteps of bodhisattvas. Indeed, our senior elder, Qian Ren, our never-resting bodhisattva, she set the best example for us in her lifelong dedication to Tao cultivation and Tao propagation. Once again, very thankful to Lecturer Lin for this wonderful sharing, and we look forward to listen to Lecturer Lin's sharing very soon. Thank you, Lecturer Lin. Thank you, Lin Jiang Shi.
Thank you.
Now,